Who's a motivational speaker, author, life coach, and sales coach. He's known as the positive momentum coach. He brings leadership training, team building, sales skills training, communication skills, personal development, a lot of fun and energy to have in the room. I think I need a lot of that. Having traveled across 4 continents, serving as a business consultant, sales trainer, and life coach, he has seen what works and what doesn't work, as well as what it takes to create above average results. Meaningful life changes and personal fulfillment. As a speaker and author and coach, Ron brings these core life challenging principles into his passionate and energetic teaching. Ron is the author of Getting Unstuck, the 9 Keys to Creating More Prosperity, Joy, Fulfillment, and he's also the founder of and current president of the Southwest Florida Speakers Group. So, Ron, please come up here. We're glad to have you with us today.
Thank you, Duff. I have a confession. My daughter actually thinks I'm speaking at the CIA. And I didn't tell her otherwise. And since all of our electronic devices are actually listening in, they're probably expecting me this morning. So the first thing I want to start off with, in this new year and a new year, new you, is happy 2018. All right? I know it's still kind of new. It's February. If it was October or November, I probably couldn't say Happy New Year. But how many people here actually set New Year's resolutions? Come on, put your hands up, put your hands up. That's all? How many of you that have your hands up actually are still on track with your New Year's resolution? Cool. Do you want to shout out what yours is? No? Anybody want to share? Anybody want to share? Are we that shy? Well, my 2017 was actually trying to lose around 35 pounds to get to my high school weight of 180 pounds. Okay, so I did that. That's why my suit needs to be taken in. But I found there was a statistic that I was amazingly shocked by. And as you saw the hands that went up, we probably guessed there's probably maybe 10-20% of the people that in this room that actually chose at that moment New Year's to set a goal. The rest of you probably did, but you're too hungover or drunk or forgot about it. The fact is, Forbes magazine in 2013 published a study that was done by the University of Scranton, Pennsylvania, and that about 40% of Americans set goals, set New Year's resolutions on New Year's. I think that's pretty good. The other 60% say, I don't really care. But the 40% that actually set those, guess how many people actually accomplished their goals? Anybody want to shout it out? I hear 10. You're close. Yes. Well, it's less than 8%. Isn't that amazing? I mean, it's like we really failed. We do great at the choosing of the goal. We actually fail at fulfilling the promise to ourselves of achieving the goal. Now, why is that? Anybody want to throw that out? What's the reason why we don't achieve our goals?
Fear.
Fear, that's one. Fear of failure, fear of success, fear of taking a chance and not happening. What else? I heard something back there. What else? Setting unreasonable expectations. That happens. I mean, some of us show up to the buffet of life and we want to do everything. And then we realize we just don't have the time, we don't have the money, we lose our esteem, we lose our ambition. Today's world is so amazingly distracted, with our electronic devices, and just sometimes we just got too many goals, right? Too many things that we want to do. And somewhere along the line we lose focus. I heard somebody else say something about accountability or accountability partners. That's what I do. I do a lot of coaching with people. So it's not just one thing about determining the goal, but talking about how do we actually achieve that. Now, what I found is the main reason that I worked with a lot of people that were stuck. That's why I called my book Getting Unstuck. What's the main reason why people aren't moving forward? Because we're human beings. We love expansion. We love doing different things. We want to have change. We don't want 2018 to end up exactly like 2017. If we've had these goals, desires, and wishes and things that we want to change, we want to figure out, how do we do this? How do we move forward? Even if it's just a tiny little goal. And the one thing I discovered, and this was across the board, that in America, in the West, we're a goal-seeking society. Too close to the something.
It's behind.
All right. Maybe it's just reflecting off my bald head. The main thing was, it wasn't the goals at all. It was the seeking of purpose, the greater vision. Most people that came to me lacked purpose, lacked that meaning. And it was not only just the meaning of whatever their life was, but their meaning in their daily practice, how they present themselves, how they show up, the excitement of life, having fun. And we get caught up in this confusing world, and we figure, well, I need to have these things called goals, but sometimes we lack the bigger meaning of our life. So how I kind of came across this was when I was in probably my late 20s. I'd gone to school, college 3 times. I know it took me a while to make up my mind. I kept moving back home to my 2 favorite roommates, Mom and Dad. And I kept thinking, son, you gotta figure this out. We figured after you finish college, you go off and get a job and start paying off that student loan. My last try was, I decided I was gonna just do what my dad did. My dad was a very successful mechanical engineer. Anybody a mechanical engineer here? A few hands show up. There you go. So I figured this is me. My brother was in the engineering field. My uncle was an engineer. It's probably in my DNA. I need to be an engineer. So I went back to college, graduated as a mechanical engineer within less than a month, and I got this awesome job for a company in Vernon, Connecticut, designing and computerized sign-making equipment. Back then, people were just painting, and this was actually, we can cut vinyl letters, and you could stick them on vans, stick them on signs, and this was in the mid-'80s. But within less than a month, I absolutely hated my job. I didn't like my environment. I felt it was stale. I felt like I was, I wanted to be outdoors. I kept looking out the window. I didn't have a window. I had to look out my friend's window. But under fluorescent lights and these things called cubicles, going to billboard meetings, and then I saw there was this whole other group of people that were absolutely having all this fun. They were high energy, they smiled all the time, and they were called salespeople. I think you're probably a salesperson. But they work for what's called distributors. I work for the manufacturer, and every time I asked them, how do I get a job like yours, they kept saying, you've got to talk to the manufacturer's rep, his name is Skip. So I finally got the nerve up to call Skip, and Skip said, yeah, you can do this, Ron. You have the ability to do this. Very motivational person. And he said, I can set you up with any distributor you want out there. Tell me some things about you, though. What do you really, really want? How much do you want to earn? Where do you want to live? I can get you some opportunities in big cities. I can get whatever. There's some good opportunities out there. But what do you really, really want? And all I could say was I just want to get out of this job. And I want to go party with these people. And sure enough, I got an opportunity, I got an interview, and I got hired by a company. I ended up having Southern Virginia, Northern North Carolina as my territory. I lived in a 900 square foot apartment in Newport News, Virginia, and I was super excited about starting my job. Called people. Didn't get anywhere. Made a lot of calls. First month, 0. Now you're a salesperson, first month you're building relationships, right? Second month, 0. Well, did I tell you this was 100% commission? So I went from a salary job, and now I'm thinking, okay, this has got to get better. Second month, I'm developing my pipeline. Any of you people actually have salespeople that work for you? You see them sleeping at your desk? They're developing their pipeline. Third month, nothing. And now I'm getting nervous. Fourth month, guess what I sold? You're right. Well, I did sell my car. I didn't sell anything that I was supposed to have sold, and I got to a point where I finally was running out of money, figuring out how am I going to get by, how am I going to pay for my rent, which is, I was already behind on one rent check. I felt like a total loser. I feared doubt and thinking I'm just not going to be able to do this. So what do? You take action, right? You continuously take action. My next action was to call Skip and just say, this is not working. I think I'm going to give up. I think I'm going to do something else, maybe get my engineering job back, but this just is not, I just can't do this. And I'm running out of funds to be able to do this. So Skip, being a motivational speaker, basically told me, he said, I know this is difficult, but you're that much closer to getting your first sale, and that's all you need. And hang in there. But he said the biggest thing is whether you stay what you're doing or you go and do something else, Ron, he goes, be absolutely clear at what you want. It's like a brick hit me in the head. I was just doing what I thought I was supposed to do, making calls, going out, knocking on doors, no goals, no certainty, just hoping to get by. And as things started getting worse and worse and worse, I was just giving up inside. But when you have a sense of purpose, that turns things around. And at that moment when I was on the phone with him, he says, I need you to be able to figure this out, share it with me, and write it down. Get some paper, get some pen, we're going to do this right now. My thought process at that moment was, if I can figure this thing out, I can teach others. Totally changed the way I looked at things. And now many of you, regardless of what your job, your career, your passion, your hobby, you have this inner drive, this inner purpose. And when you call that into action, all those goals are secondary. You figure the goals out, you figure the action plans out. But when you have that true north for yourself or for your company, that's significant in helping you move forward. And I found it at that day, and that made a huge difference. Now, the two things I discovered, because I started actually practicing helping people find their purpose, and there were some people that could find it, and they could just nail it like that. And there are other people like, I just don't know. And we hear this thing about having that future vision that kind of pulls us and excites us, but sometimes people have a lot of doubt around that. When is that ever going to happen? And in this moment, they're feeling lack. They're feeling like, I'm not sure if I'm able to live up to that picture. It's going to take time. It's going to take money. So as I travel throughout the world, I started traveling to some of these distant places, out into the villages of Indonesia. This is where my wife is from. South America, I went to some of the remote places in Brazil, and I found there was people that had next to nothing, but they were expressing this inner sense, this glow. You could see it in their eyes, you could feel it in their presence. They had a sense of joy, and I'd come back to the United States, and everybody had all this stuff, and I couldn't feel that. And many of the people that I was coaching, they were coming to me and saying, like, I've achieved that goal, but I don't feel happy. And so what I realized is this old Zen thing about being in a now, being present. How do I show up to life now? I've got this future purpose, but that purpose is actually in this now moment. What can I do differently? How can I express myself? How can I maybe add value to people's lives? Matt from Professional Plumbing talked about his employees. That's amazing. When somebody stands up and talks about their employees, Janet recognized her staff. When we add value to other people's lives, whether they're our staff, they're our customers, whoever they are, it can show up in just kindness. It can show up in gratitude. It can show up in sincerely seeing and appreciating something in somebody else because they stepped up to the plate and they did it. So you think about, I'm going to bring myself and my purpose of how I can bring more joy, more excitement, more passion, whatever way that you want to express yourself into your now moment. To me, at that time, it was like, how do I sell more machines? How do I make money? But then how do I add value to people's lives? Because when I do that, it was transformational. It was a technology that took people from painting letters to actually cutting letters, to making more money, to expanding their businesses, to advancing their employees, to feeding themselves, to putting money away for their college, for their kids, to being able to reach out to more of their customers, and I could see that was my now moment, even though my future vision was always there as well. Does that make sense? So I developed this practice, and I sat down and worked with people. I said, before we get into all these goals that you're not getting done, let's talk about purpose. Let's talk about where you see yourself. Let's talk about what you're going to practice in this now moment. And let's have fun with this. Because that was the one thing people weren't having. They were stressed out. I said, let's have fun with this. Now this truly works. It helps. I've had people that come to me and they basically borderline depression. It's helped them revigorate their life. Sometimes they have to change direction. Sometimes they have to find a purpose in a job that they hate. But they really found their purpose there after figuring that out. And then the other thing too is, what I had to do was I had to write it every day. We call that affirmations. And the affirmation is, I am purposely affecting lives in a very positive way. I am helping people find technology that serves them. I am, and if I couldn't find an I am, if I couldn't figure out what I was doing, I would have to express it inwardly as gratitude. I have. I'm so grateful that I have this. And it shifted my energy, and it shifted my excitement. And as I teach this to other people, I find they're waking up in a day and they've got what's called their why. Why do I show up to work? Why do I do what I do? Why am I passionate about this? Their why is what motivates them. It's not the what that they do, it's the why that they're doing it. And when they connect with that, everything else works. Now, I've helped individuals, I've helped businesses, even people with health problems. My father, who has since passed, but 20 years ago, he was diagnosed with a rare form of cancer, and they basically said, you got about a year to live. I'm like, if it's that rare, how do you know? Right? But seriously, within 6 months, he was whittling away to nothing. I don't know if it was the cancer or the chemo, but basically my mom said, spend more time with your father because we just don't know how long he's going to live. And I think part of it was the belief that came into him. He said, I got a year to live. He also got struck with the flu that year, so on top of everything else. And of course, everything that they were doing, hospital-wise, nothing was working. And my dad got to the point where he was having a hard time getting out of bed, hard time moving. So, and I'm not claiming this, I think it was my dad that decided to change his belief. And he figured, you know what, as long as I've only got a short period of time, I've got things I want to do, and his sense of purpose, both in whatever time was left, as well as in his now moment, was being able to do certain things that he had on his bucket list. He began to write children's books. He published his first children's book. And it was amazing. It's about his hidden message of life that he shares with kids. He had an invention that he had worked on back when he was a mechanical engineer that was never finished. And he became a consultant for his old company. And he actually helped them bring this to life. And it was a part that goes on a jet engine for Pratt & Whitney aircraft. And if he hadn't done that, it wouldn't probably exist. He got a U.S. patent for that. He actually got, his friend called him and asked him if he would play golf. And my mom was like, he can't even get out of bed. I said, well, there's golf carts that'll move him around. He can swing a golf club. And then he started doing it 1 day a week, and then he started doing it 2 days a week. Everything changed. He decided to start researching natural healing and things such as prayer, and just it completely changed his life. Doctors were saying, like, this blood work doesn't even look like it's you. Whatever you're doing, just keep doing it. So the 1 year ended up being 14 years. Yes, my dad has passed, but the 1 year ended up being 14 years. So it was a sense of purpose that he felt at that moment, and he glowed and he looked a little different, and he showed up to life a little different. He even changed from being grumpy, sometimes we get grumpy, when we're in pain, we're grumpy, to a person that you just wanted to be around. So this really, really works. What I'd like to do now is I'd like to we're going to go through a very quick exercise, and this is where we go into what we call goals. Now, by rights, I should start you with your purpose, your life vision. But we know the American Indians, they would send a young boy out to the woods for several days before he become a man to discover his vision. We don't have several days. So what we're going to do is right now, I want everybody in this room to think about one thing. I don't care whether you call it a goal or a wish, but something you feel like, I'd love to be able to do this in this year, 2018. Whether it's get rid of an old habit, maybe it's exercise, maybe you want to write a book, maybe you want to take up painting, maybe you want to mentor somebody, maybe you want to travel somewhere you haven't traveled before. Maybe something you already have on your mind and you just didn't do it last year, 2017, 2016. So if everybody can think of that one thing, does everybody have that one thing in their mind? One thing, can you nod your head? Yes? All right, the one thing. Take a quick minute, turn to the person to your left or your right, and I want you to actually share what that one thing is. All right? Go ahead now. Shared fully. Did you? Okay, super. So you also shared and you allowed your partner to share too, right? All right, so everybody, here's the thing, sharing is declaring, right? When we have an idea in our mind, it can disappear tomorrow. But we step up to the plate when we actually not only talk about it, we write it down, that's the other thing. We solidify when we write something down, but when we share it with one other person, we're sharing is declaring. We're going to now, take that to the next level because somebody else knows about it. Isn't that cool? Now the next step I want you to do is, again, tension up here for a second. We're going to address this because I don't want anybody to miss this. This is the most important part. Too many people have too many goals. If you have a to-do list on your desk, you should just typically have 6 or 7 things per day. Too many people want to do too many things and they don't get it done. Have you ever been to come home from work and say, I just didn't get it done? Right? One action. So now that you've got your goal, and I don't care whatever it is, travel, get back into the gym, or whatever it is, I want you to think of one thing that you can do today or over the next 3 days that'll be a baby step towards your goal. One thing that you can do. So, for instance, if it's travel, maybe you need to talk to your spouse. Look at your calendars. Talk about where you're going to go. That's a goal. That's one action step, right? If it's somebody that wants to actually write a book, maybe you need to do research on your topic. Maybe that's one action step. Do research. If it's somebody that's going to go back to college or study something, maybe it's actually researching that as well. So, whatever it is, maybe you need to pick up the phone and call somebody and tell them you love them because you haven't done this and you appreciate them. I don't know what your one thing is, but whatever that one thing is, and it's to be done, again, you got to hold your promise, today or within the next 3 days. That's simple. One simple baby step. You got that? Turn around to your partner one more time and share exactly what that one thing is. We'll give you one of them. Lose the 5 pounds of weight and turn it into muscle. That's excellent. I'm with you on that. That's what my goal. Mine's now maintenance. Gotta stay where I'm at. So, anyways, what is your one step? Your one thing?
Work out every day.
Work out every day.
Yeah.
When are you going to start your workout?
February.
January 1st. All right, so there's a decision that's been made over here. So give them some applause. Anything else to share? Okay.
My son's getting ready to graduate from college, high school. We're going to take our last trip to the Grand Canyon.
Oh wow. Excellent. Grand Canyon's a great place to be. So what's your what's the thing that you need to do as far as
Schedule a vacation date with my boss.
schedule a vacation date with her boss? Excellent. Give her a round of applause. I know it sounds kind of simple when we do an activity like this and we just choose one thing and one goal. We know that life is so much more than that. But sometimes, again, we get hung up on just the confusion of it all and nothing. We don't gain any traction. And I can share this whole thing about having that sense of purpose. What is that? And then linking up the actual goals. And sometimes it's just taking that vacation, because we all need to be able to do things like that. Everything in life that we do is significant, whether it's directly in line with our grander purpose or grander vision or not. But I can tell you, this stuff works. My wife, who is now a professional singer, she's been doing it for 3 years now? She never thought of singing. English is not her first language. Fear about getting up in front of the stage. And now, she sings from Marco Island all the way up here through Sarasota, all the way up to St. Petersburg, 5 days a week. It was 7 days a week, but now she had to cut back because we need to spend time together. And it started with, I need to learn one song. Get out there and sing karaoke. And then feel good in a moment. Because the good in a moment for her, she loves to sing. She loves it when people get up and dance. So for her, the vision was there. The fear was there. Because people talked about that earlier. Fear does stop us. But when we have a compelling, exciting vision, and we have a now moment, and we start to choose these goals, and we take that one step. What was the one step for her? Learn one song. Now she probably knows about 500 or something. R&B, disco, the Motown, all jazz, all those things. People keep coming up to her and saying, "Can you sing this song? I'll be back next week. I'll figure it out." So this stuff really, really works. The last thing before I wrap up, and this is the truth, because I work with a lot of people. The fact of the matter is, everything that I've shared with you holds true. But life happens. There are moments that we don't plan for. We've all had that. It's all going to continue to happen. The world is crazy out there, as we see in the news. There's going to be things such as disease and death. There's going to be things such as financial bankruptcy, emotional bankruptcy, setbacks. We all have that. I'm working right now with a person who is in my Toastmasters. I've been coaching him. And I don't know, but 2 or 3 years ago, he wanted to speak. And then he didn't show up. And then actually another year comes by, and of course he wants to speak, and he doesn't show up. I'm thinking, this guy, does he want coaching or not? Does he want help or not? And then he told me his story on the phone. He says, you know what? He goes, I figured out a way to heal myself from stage 4 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And I really want to empower people. Like, I'm not a doctor. I can't tell them how to heal themselves, but I can tell them to do your own research and tell them, don't give up. And that was his message. And I said, this guy's excited. I was super excited over the phone, waiting to meet him. And then he doesn't show up. He was out riding his bike the day before and got hit by a truck. He was in the hospital. Today, John Ramus, I'm helping him with his first speech, and it's called I'm Still Standing. It's an amazing individual. And he actually works in the hospital. And so for him to take the non-traditional route and actually, figure using prayer, using meditation, using holistic approaches, going to naturopath doctors, and still getting the regular blood work done, from the oncologist, and everybody again is saying, like, whatever you're doing, keep doing. But this guy basically has that conviction, that power, that belief. So, to end with a message, yes, whatever it is that's inside of you, that you feel so passionate about, that life vision that you have, you can start that today. It's a brand new day, it's a brand new moment, it's a new year, it's a new you. Think about, how do I express it in this current moment? How do I share more love for my employees, for my family, for the people that I directly affect in my life? How do I step up to the plate with that? Because we all need a lot more love and gratitude and appreciation and sharing and closeness. With all our crazy technology that's disconnecting us, we need to find a way to reconnect. And then to figure out, how do I simplify the process of a goal? And then take action and have fun with it. Thank you.